Hello and welcome to yet another piece of appointment viewing here on NewsX. We've been doing this for the better part now of more than 4 months. The mission has been the same. We've been telling you about it, is to get you an introduction to the people who are going to be innovating, disrupting and creating wealth in this country, because we are all in the same boat called India. We want all of us to succeed as an economy and as a country. Things have been difficult, they've been tough, but a lot of tough people have gotten going. We want to figure out what the next actionable steps are, what is the help that's still required, what are the brands and products out there that you need to get to know of that are going to be providing you services as well as products that you had no idea you needed 6 months ago, but now we can't live without. Let's open up this conversation, which we do in association with Business World. Prem Kumar is joining us. He's co-founder and COO of TraceCost. Divyateja Kondetti, co-founder and CEO of SmartDen. Prem Kumar, founder and CEO of SnapBizz. Priyanka Madnani, co-founder and CEO of Easy to Pitch. And as always, editor-in-chief of Business World, Anurag Batra joining us. Anurag ji, help us set up the conversation for us, please.
Thank you, Rishabh. As we always said, livelihoods also matter, and livelihoods can save lives. That's what the premise of the show is, and also to be able to take the vision of our Prime Minister for an Atmanirbhar or self-reliant India. And entrepreneurs can create that self-reliant India. So let me start by asking Prem. Prem, your company and your offering is enabling the last mile retailer to be able to fulfill the demand that is coming in e-commerce, to tech enable the retailers. Tell us, in last 7 months, how has been that journey? Give us a sense through numbers.
So it's been an amazing journey. I'm sort of taken aback by the resilience of the small entrepreneurs. Probably they have to fight for the day, to survive for the day, which is probably makes them so resilient. The sectors in which we work in, which is basically Kirana stores, have actually seen a 40% growth in sales, have probably acquired 18 to 35% new customers. But the underlying theme to all of that seems to be a very high degree of resilience, flexibility, first principles thinking. We're looking at the landscape, taking action on the landscape then and now, here and now. So it's been sort of tailwinds, and the buoyancy in the industry, in the Kirana space, seems to be quite positive. And we are helping them sort of overcome some of their key challenges on both the demand side and supply side. So what amazes me the most about all of that is how quickly people have reinvented themselves, how quickly they have addressed the challenges from a very first principles perspective, looking at what is happening here and now and developing the playbook as they go by.
Thank you so much, Prem. Prem, dare I say, I know your domain a little bit, being an investor in a company that is similar but addresses a larger segment than yours. And I can say that I know every player in this segment because of what I do. It's my job to know what happens in each sector.
Fantastic.
It seems too crowded. Mr. Mukesh Ambani, through his tie-up with Facebook and through what WhatsApp is doing, is trying to address what you are doing. Then there is the Traders Federation, and we had the representative. They are trying to do this. Milo Mart is trying to do it. So, what will separate the boys from men or the women from the girls? Because there are too many players in this segment. What will define the success of a player like you as you move forward?
Actually, we don't see the place as crowded as that, to be honest. Look at us as a brother of the merchant sitting inside the store, understanding the store in its totality, optimizing the relationship of the store on the demand side and supply side. And what makes the difference is the trust. And at the end of the day, the trust.
Are you saying the larger players will have the data of the customers, and are the shopkeepers or the retailers afraid that somebody may then approach their customers directly?
Possibly. I don't know that. I don't want to answer. So the question is that every merchant is thinking who is a white knight, who is a Trojan horse, right? So there is constantly this dichotomy and dilemma in the minds of people as to who is the neutral platform. And it's not about what you will do for a merchant, but it's also about what you will not do to the merchant, right? So it's the promises that you make on what you will do and what you will not do.
Thank you, Prem, on that. Prem, give us a sense of how many Kirana store owners are there in India. And what is the size of this digitization in e-commerce opportunity?
So there are roughly about 10 million Kirana stores in India, of which roughly about 3 million of them fall into the potential digitization category, because they fall about, their business is about 5 lakhs a month. If you were to split it further, you got about a million of them who are at about 10 lakh plus per month. And you have a 2 million, which is between 5 to 10 lakhs per month. And the long tail is about 7 lakhs, which is about a lakh of rupees per month or 2 lakhs per month. So that's the kind of thing. Now, digitization has been taking a very rapid pace of absorption and adoption at this point of time, largely because of the fact that it is adding value to them materially, measurably in the very short run. Because for a Kirana shop owner, it's not about what 2025 looks like. It's about the here and now, this month and the next month, right? And what digitization, see, a lot of marketeers want to spend a lot of money on the Kirana stores. Unfortunately, they are not able to measure the impact of their spend. And that's why they are not able to capture the value of those inputs that could have probably come to them. So digitization, in my opinion, is going to be in the A-class stores would be about 70 to 80% of the stores, which is about the 1 million stores. It probably will be about 50, 60% in the 2 million stores of the B-class stores, and probably 20, 30% in the smaller stores, right? So that's the level of digitization, and all of this is not going to take too much time. All of this is pretty much going to happen very fast, largely led by the fact that you have to pivot yourself to service the demand on the consumer side, because the consumer is moving at a rapid pace. And on the other side, if you want to capture value from the supply side of your business, you have to be able to digitize. You have to be able to give measurables and matrices back. If you have to ask somebody for money, it's simple. You got to account for money, right? If you can't account for money, nobody is going to give you money, right? Whether it's the money in the form of rupees or whether it's the money in the form of promotions, right? Whatever it could be. So I'm very bullish and optimistic about it. Okay. I mean, we are seeing absolutely no problem in scale up. Our challenge is only reach. So we are now, partnering with some of the largest companies and the financial service players to get the pan-India reach very fast. In the cities in which we are, we have a 30-35% share of the market of the digitized space, and so I'm very positive.
I want to ask you one question. 1st October, the first 1%. TDS kicked in on e-commerce, which also applied to the Kirana stores, anybody who does e-commerce. What's your point of view? Do you think the government will do away with it because it kind of de-incentivizes the Kirana player to get online?
Yeah, I think this will have to be revisited, or probably will be revisited, because it's contrary to the trend in which you want to digitize the country. It's contradictory to that fundamental principle. And even going forward, if you're talking about the small merchants place in the SME space, which is the backbone today, during the COVID time, what has been proved beyond doubt, and we have been celebrating the unsung heroes, which are the Kirana stores. They are the ones who are really keeping the 1.3 billion population going, right? E-commerce and grocery specifically has not reached beyond the top few, the 20-30 million population of this country, right?
Absolutely.
So we are very far from that. And grocery as a category, the shopper behavior is very different. 90% is fulfillment, 10% is shopping and discovery, unlike, say, other categories. So the unit economics is, and India is a very well-oiled machine in terms of consumer goods, right? Companies have invested 25, 30 years ago building this infrastructure and railroad of distribution.
Okay.
It's a very, very, in fact,
all right, guys.
I'm
sorry to just interrupt this conversation. We need to take a break for a minute.
Shampoo for 1 rupee and wash long hair, right? So there is a fabric of efficiency that we have built in this country, which is amazingly
which exists, and you're probably right when it comes to a lot of people shopping online. Either they're going for high value products or they're going for products that are not easily available in the local market, which you can't get a phone call and get anyway. Premji, let me quickly get back in. The question I was trying to put across, which is a more generic question, is there has been value loss in the economy. We can't say it hasn't. It's happened, right? We're getting back, but it's going to take a long time. In that regard, where are the areas that are emerging that are creating new ecosystems? When we have larger conversations, we saw the Prime Minister talking about AI a couple of days ago. We were having this entire conversation with 3,000 R&D diaspora researchers across the country. I think that was on Friday. Space, defense, we're talking about ecosystems. Where are the ecosystems coming on the digital domain that are going to become the industries of the future? Because as far as digital services was considered by us, it was simply banking, insurance, back-end office work for some American companies. We're in a different path now. Where is it?
So there's going to be paradigm shifts that's going to happen in many vertical spaces like, consumer goods industry, for instance, one, communication for another, entertainment for another. Anything relating to technology and the penetration of technology is going to have a major change and a significant impetus to change. Democratization of digital connect has happened to a great extent, but now the next wave is going to be democratization of data and digital. That's going to make
Can you explain to me what do you mean by democracy? What do you mean by democracy? Will I someday own my data? Is that going to ever happen?
No, the point is the divide between the ability to use data and not use data. That's where the divide probably lies, right? I mean, everybody doesn't have the capability to get value out of data in the same way. So hang on. Let me put that out of view. So you are saying that a company, which is a small company like Divya Teja, this is on an upswing in India, initially will find it difficult to take on Amazon Alexa, right? But with more access to data crunching, algorithms, AI, that this is going to become democratized. So he has a chance. He has a chance to take on the world's biggest players who are holding the data right now. Absolutely right. And he not only has a chance because of it, because of the connectivity also, he has the ability to now interact, communicate, and intelligently interact with consumers and or channels to be able to disrupt the system. Okay, so you mentioned trust deficit. How do we earn back trust deficit? Premji. The trust deficit is not earned that easily. It is earned through what promises you make and what promises you keep. There's no simple magic formula for trust deficit. It's one of the most complex things. In fact, many times I wonder why is there not a chief trust officer in most companies. So trust is something that you build. You can't just... Is there a trust deficit, not just China related? Is there a general trust deficit, with the big conglomerates, Facebook? Does it affect business? Because you mentioned that it might be disincentivizing people. Because we have a trust deficit even with aggregators in this country. And you mentioned, a restaurant, F&B is a great example of that, where there is a trust deficit with aggregators. Even your mobility aggregators have had trust deficit with their own, people, end users in the end. How do we get past that? So, I mean, that's a very complex question to answer, to be honest, because getting across trust deficit largely comes from the transparency that you have. The culture, the value systems, the culture, and it's all about not just the promise you make to a customer, but it's also about the promise what you will not do to the customer. You got to be transparent and upfront about what you will do for somebody and what you will not do to somebody. Okay. As long as that fundamental principle is very transparent and out in the public domain, and it doesn't work if you don't have the data. Premji, yes. When do we reach the space where we can say Indian companies now have data at scale where AI becomes an actual reality, where you are the Android. If we grow. Okay, if you are the Android platform, right now we are the few apps on the Android platform. We are not the Android platform. That's the scale of data differentiation I'm talking about. Yeah, yes. I think what is going to happen, change this game, is the quantum of collaboration that is going to happen. And one is already beginning to see a lot of collaboration and sharing of data and sharing of perspectives that is really happening. So, it doesn't have to be very organic growth of data, but it's going to be a lot more collaborative growth of data. And connectivity is going to be, when I say connectivity, I don't mean literally the connectivity. The fact that collaboration happens to a great extent will create a quantum jump. On that note, I'm going to be recommending to a lot of people, including those here and those watching, somebody out there, please go in India and create a data exchange. If data is the new gold, new oil, it will eventually become a tradable commodity. And if you guys do it and make millions or billions, please remember me and give me 1% idea equity. Okay, Anurag, back to you for closing comments.
Thank you so much, Rishabh. My first company is called Exchange for Media. I think it's time to launch Exchange for Data.
Please do. I'll come for 1% idea equity.
But coming back to, let me start with Priyanka this time. Priyanka, one of the things, being a first generation entrepreneur myself and having lots and lots of friends right from India's top billionaires who are self-made billionaires and not inherited wealth to very start level entry entrepreneurs, I know maybe 5 lakh entrepreneurs maybe close to that. I may have interacted with 30, 40,000 in the last 20 years. I want to ask you, in the last 6 months, what's that one or two or three things that have changed in an entrepreneur's mindset that you've noticed? And generally, where do you see Indian entrepreneurs lacking when you compare them with entrepreneurs in the Silicon Valley or in Singapore or elsewhere? So give us a sense of these two dimensions.
Sure, sir. So the very biggest thing that I want to share from that 6 months of my journey that I've learned so far is not to attach strings to anybody, anything what you do in entrepreneurship, right? So I have lost my friends, I have lost, I have lost businesses in last, 6 months. So I have understood that, whenever we are building a product in being an entrepreneur, we can never attach our emotional strings to that. We have to keep on moving and accept it and create and rebuild everything with a better strategy. So I understand that when we talk about the Indian economy or Indian entrepreneurs, we are very much emotional. We have to change that thing. Passion is one thing, but there is a thin line between being passionate and being emotional. So this is a big change that Indian entrepreneurs have to have as compared to the entrepreneurs that are from Singapore, Malaysia and other continents. So this is the biggest change that I have felt in last 6 months during even the changes that have been occurring in the ecosystem, startup ecosystem altogether.
Okay. And, can you tell me, as an entrepreneur, what have you learned in the last 6 months that you didn't know while you are a coach to entrepreneurs? Tell us what has changed in your own mindset.
Yes, for me, when I talk to founders and tell them that the scalability is very important whenever you go out for the investment firm. So I myself as an entrepreneur and after founding Easy to Pitch, I have realized that I have to, while guiding, I have to understand that I need to scale as well. I cannot be a 20 member company, but I have to grow into a 100 member company.
Are you thinking of productizing what you do?
Yes. So that was the change.
Scale up means productization.
Yes, so
as
we
a
have
service, you have a limitation.
Yes, for that. So I have entered into tech space where we will be building a first SaaS platform for automating the pitching capabilities of the founders, and that's the new thing that in me that I've started learning the tech and dealing with a lot of product guys, and we are in the process of launching that prototype soon. That is a new thing in last 6 months for me that we have to scale right now. It's the time.
And it's an equalizer. So if your thought process and your execution can align with the environment, you can be bigger, It's not about resources, right? Not about ideas and relationships. I also want to ask you, when do you see the Indian economy coming back in full bloom? When do you see demand coming back in full bloom? 6 months, 12 months or 18 months?
So I think demand has just started. The things are coming on track back.
But if I may be contrarian and say it is a pre-festive demand, it will be there another 40 days, and we don't know about whether the demand will be there post that or not.
So in my industry, I guess the finance industry is coming to boom in next financial year.
And what makes you believe that?
Because I'm already, facing that in last 2 months, I have seen my 200% growth is just increasing every month, where founders are looking for certain services or certain expertise, right? So I can see the demand that I've from 10-member team, I've grown into 25-member team. That shows that I have to cater more and more demands that are coming up, and, with the growing of the startup ecosystem right now.
Divyateja Kondeti, what's your top lockdown lesson? And when do you see the Indian economy back in full bloom? 6 months, 12 months or 18 months?
Yes, my top lockdown lesson was that I've learned that things don't be like the way you expect to be, and you have to learn to be ready and faster to change, to accept.
Agile. You have to be agile to be taking decisions faster than you ever did, at a shorter decision cycles than you ever did. Yes.
And
you see the economy coming back?
I would
qualify your answer.
It depends on the sectors, I would say.
Of course, they say there is a K-shaped recovery, which means some sectors will grow very fast and other may not grow or may degrow even in the future. So, of course, it depends on when the vaccine will come, when the COVID tapers off. We still don't know. In Canada, there is a second wave, so really we'll have to be conscious of the environment and be very agile. But what's your sense seeing whatever you have on your plate right now?
I would say in our sector, we are on a very turmoil. It's quite slow, but we see in the next 6 months, we would be able to grow in terms of the market that...
The residential sales have started to pick up. Dare I say the millennials, for the first time, have seen the value of a home because they spend much more time in the home than they ever did. And they've saved more. A lot of those who had jobs, so their parents or their families may actually push them to buy homes. So over the next few months, and with Navratras coming, you'll see sales of automobiles, homes, everything going up.
Okay. Anurag, I need to take a break in a minute.
You're a veteran. What's your top lockdown lesson? And when do you see the Indian economy coming back in full bloom?
So for me, the top lesson has been the power of human resource capital of a company. Right? I mean, this COVID has taught us a lot about the power of a human resource capital, resiliency, the capability to look at things, strip down things from a first principles perspective, reassemble things very fast, agility. So that's been a major, major learning that how much can people do when push comes to shove, right? So that's been a great lesson for me, the power of the human resource capital. I think the turnaround of the economy, I don't think is going to take very long. It just needs some side of a sentiment impetus is what I really believe. It needs an upswing in the sentiment.
Impetus. That's a nice word. Sentiment impetus.
Yeah,
How do you think that sentiment impetus will happen?
I think a little bit of a good news, generally a good news, propagation of good news will make the things buoyant and positive in terms of energy. I think we are sort of beginning to learn to live with COVID in a way. We are sort of getting adjusted to the new normal. We have also sort of reinvented, most people have reinvented their lifestyles, everything about them. So I'm actually quite optimistic about the situation. It's probably because I work a lot with Kirana shops, which have reinvented themselves dramatically well and have done very well. And
they've been our lifeline.
Anurag, 1 minute. We got 1 minute.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Prem.
Sorry. So I said, look, my point is that the sentiment impetus is what is going to be the tipping point to things coming back. Of course, there's macroeconomics and microeconomics that will play out depending on various industries and so on and so forth. But I think the most important thing is going to be the sentiment impetus, which is going to tip the needle in terms of conspicuous consumption going up. And we are a consumption-driven economy, so obviously that's going to be very crucial, right? I really believe that it's not too far away.
And define that too far. 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months.
I think south of 12 months, between 6 and 12, as fast as, we just need a few good newses to happen to be jumping around and doing things. That's what we are.
That matters the most.
Yes. Yeah. And Prem, you have the last word. What's your top lockdown lesson and when do you see the economy back in full bloom?
Right. So, for us personally, we've been slightly old school and we felt that you need to be physically present for all the works. So we've learned that working virtually is possible. You mentioned Canada. I was there for 3.5 months, just landed on the 2nd of October. And then we've been working virtually with our Indian team and also expanding on the Canadian region. So we've learned that to work virtually. And I
agree, Rob, I don't know that the more the digital immersion happens, the value of physical contact, face-to-face conversation, and what you can get out of a physical conversation or a work-related engagement gets better. That's my personal view.
Yeah.
Go on.
I could not agree more. I absolutely agree with you on that. And so therefore you've got a flip side to both angles. And yes.
Okay, perhaps 6 months, 9 months, 1 year, how long before we're back?
So I will support Priyanka on this. I think so. We've already started seeing a lot of move now. And therefore we feel that it's already, like I mentioned a couple of months back, people have started already moving, at least in our industry.
Okay, well, it's moving. It's not moving everywhere. But I'm hoping the economic indicators also start moving. Thank you, all of you.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.